Hi everyone, welcome to a unboxing of Tokaido. Now this is a game I got quite a while ago and I've never actually got around to reviewing it yet. But I found it's a really kind of nice and simple game which has now got an expansion, which is this Crossroads expansion, and this kind of makes it slightly more of a kind of complex game. It basically doubles your options throughout the game, which makes it kind of slightly more complicated, but it doesn't really unbalance it. It doesn't make it unfair or give anyone a really obvious route to success, which is quite nice. But the base game, it's basically what I'm going to be reviewing in this kind of video. I might then go over the Crossroads in another video. So I've got the game out here. I'll just give you a quick kind of show of what's inside the box. Now, the first thing you'll find is the board. Now, instantly you'll see how beautiful all the artwork is. It's got this really fabulous kind of, almost kind of cartoon Japanese kind of feel to it. It really does look quite good. And the board's quite long, but it's very simple. To basically summarise what you actually do throughout the game, you basically move along and you collect things and do things and you meet people, you buy things, you earn money. And the objective of the game is basically just to, at the end of the game, have the most fulfilled journey from one side of the board to the other. Now you can do that by doing all the different things. So there's this one, the black tile is the shop, the red is the temple where you can donate money. So the shop you can buy souvenirs, temple you can donate money, the pink you can encounter various different characters which do various different things. It's like a bit of a wild card. The green, the grey and the blue are paintings, and you basically collect little paintings. You kind of finish your paintings throughout the game. And this light blue, kind of turquoise, this is hot springs, and that's about it. The only other one is throughout the game you'll encounter these ones. There are 4 of them that you actually encounter, although there's one you begin on, and they are spread out throughout the board. But these are basically dining areas. They're like little pubs or night stops. So you stop here, all the players stop here, and you have to purchase some dinner, basically. Now, the scoring is done continuously. So you count up your kind of character. You have these little tokens. There's lots of different coloured ones for each of the different coloured kind of character things, which are these different colours across here. And you move your character up so you can see who's in the lead. And basically what you end up doing is you're moving along, and you can move as far as you want. You can't share a space with anyone unless there's 2 spaces on that icon. So for example, this shop has two spaces. Now only if you're playing a 4-player game do you actually, a 4 or 5-player game, sorry, do you use the second space when they have this line through them. So throughout the game, you're basically trying to block people from getting what they want. So because everything's face up mostly in the base game as well, you're trying to, if you know someone really wants this green painting because they've already got a few of the green paintings and they need the next one, you can go on that purely to block them. However, the thing that's beautiful about the game is that it's really well balanced, because if you do that and you don't need it specifically for yourself, you can block them, which is bad for them, but then it's not necessarily good for you, and you might need money, so they'll block the bank and then you can't get money. And it's all kind of a back and forth blocking and kind of preventing people, but trying to do as much as you can for yourself. But the main thing about this game is it's really straightforward. So there's no dice rolling in the base game. There is a dice in the Crossroads expansion, and everything's very straightforward. You move to a space. So say you all started here, you can move along, and if you really wanted to buy something because you started with lots of money, you can go to the shop. And when you go to the shop, you do a certain thing. And the rules do explain all that. I won't go into everything completely in depth at the moment. But the scoring is very straightforward. All the cards on them do say how many points they give you. And on the board as well, like this is the temple area. When you donate a coin, you can, when you land on the temple that is, you can donate 1, 2 or 3 coins, and you add that to your corresponding colour, so you know who's donated what. And at the end of the game you score different points for however much you've added on to the temple. And it also says up here, 1 coin equals 1 point. So every coin you donate is 1 point. Now, the one thing I've noticed with this game is that people that like complicated board games don't necessarily enjoy it that much, because people that play lots of board games like to think of a strategy and like to know how they can win. Whereas with this, there isn't really much of a way of knowing you can win. There is ways that you can try and stop one specific person, but with enough people, if they notice you're doing lots of paintings, for example, they'll stop you from getting paintings. So it's very kind of balancing. It tries to make everyone have an even kind of chance of winning, which is nice, because when you're introducing someone to board games or they're not very good at board games, it's kind of nice to be able to let everyone have fun rather than just the people who are really hardcore gaming people that like board games and know all the strategies. But I'll just show you a few other things. There's the rulebook, which again has this really, really nice artwork all over it, and it's pictorial, shows you all the different things and tells you how to do it, and it's all written in this kind of nice kind of, it's not a Japanese font, but you can kind of get what I mean by the font kind of looks Japanesey. And you've got all these, which are the character cards, and these all have this kind of pictorial representation of what everything does, which is really nice. The other thing is you've got kind of nice little ways of identifying your colour. So say I pick this character. Yes, it's a blue character, but say I want it to be represented by this green token. You can pick this green token and put it in your character card, and you are now green. So when everyone picks their corresponding colours, you've got all these pieces. So someone could be purple and they might be a purple character. So you can kind of choose your colours, which is quite nice. Now, the money are all represented by all these little coins, which are all made of like this thick cardstock type material. It's quite nice. It would be nicer, obviously, if they're plastic or something more like durable. Although none of them have actually started wearing yet. The only one that is broken is I've got one that when I popped it out of its perforated cardboard sheet, it tore a little bit on one of the sides. Now, there's even more artwork. There's all these, which are the paintings. Now, they are all repeated. So there's 5 of the number 5 paintings, and they're all identical. But what these do is that as you're playing, you basically connect them together, and you can see it's starting to form a little bit of a painting here. If I can not cover it up for you guys. I'll just move it out of the way. You can kind of connect them together and they make a painting. And you start with number 1. I've started with number 3 and 4 and 5. But you start with number 1 and you gradually get more and more points as you kind of play in the game, which is kind of nice. You end up with this kind of fancy looking painting at the end of the game if you've done lots of paintings. Now, there's also lots of other cards which are for the other spaces. There's lots and lots of cards which are the black, I believe. Yep, these black cards. And these ones are all the different items you can buy in the shop. And there is technically no actual language of this game. The only language you will notice the difference in is in the rulebook. My rulebook's in English, but the cards themselves are basically in a Western representation of the Japanese word. So they do have these Japanese symbols, and also some other Japanese symbols on them sometimes. But I think this must be what this is in Japanese traditional language. But if you kind of westernize that into Western text, it comes out as this, and that's basically universal. So I think basically there's no actual way of translating the actual game. It's all represented pictorially. And these all have the rules on, so they have how much they cost, they have what type of souvenir they are, so you've got the different types of souvenirs. If I can find the final one, is this one. So you can see these 4 cards all have different symbols, and you get more points based on the biggest variety of things. So if you buy 2 that are both ornamental or 2 pieces of clothes, you don't score as many points as if you bought a variety. So if you bought some food, or you bought some clothes or some ornaments, then you'd get quite a lot of points for getting a variety. Now, the nice thing about this game, as I keep saying, is that it looks nice. And the only thing that is a bit weird is that you end up having loads and loads of cards all over the place. And something I've noticed that is a little bit of a problem is that because everything's kind of going on and you're scoring points and you're paying money, people often forget to add up their points. So although the board, which I'll just show you again, the board does have this counter, I often find at the end of the game I try and get everyone to just add up everything, or one person adds up individual people, so if I know all the scoring better than everyone else, because I've played it lots, I'll be able to add it up slightly quicker, and I can just tot up everyone's different points, and then we end up finding someone's forgotten to add in points for something they've got, or they've missed out something, and you end up that people aren't kind of scoring more than they think, which it's not necessarily bad, it's just sometimes it's nice to be able to follow it perfectly. Now that isn't a problem with the game, exactly, it's more a problem with kind of me not following everything perfectly. But it would be nice if there was kind of slightly fewer, well, no, it would be nicer if there was less complication, and therefore you could kind of not worry as much about adding up points, because it was a bit awkward to kind of add up all your points, mainly because there's usually people far away from the point counter and you end up forgetting if you've done it or not, which is a bit weird. But overall the game basically is nice because it looks really, really good. And it is a very simple game, there are not many complicated rules, but it really is kind of nice and fun. It's simple, it's quite quick, it takes probably about 40 minutes to an hour if you're playing it with 4 or 5 characters. If you play it with fewer characters, it's slightly quicker. If you play with 2, it's probably maybe half an hour. But if you're playing like a normal board game with like 3 or 4 or 5 people, it will take probably about 45 minutes to an hour, as I said. But it's a really good game. I do recommend it, mainly because it's kind of simple but fun. If you're obviously into lots of complicated board games and you want a big strategy game, then it probably isn't for you. But if you're looking for something kind of simple that has a lot of visual kind of interest, and it's also got this kind of Japanesey feel, obviously because it's set in Japan, but it's really visually quite nice, and it makes you kind of feel happy because it's zen, it's kind of a peaceful game. There's no actual like causing problems for people, it's just instead of them doing one nice thing, they do a different nice thing. So it's kind of good fun. And if you do want a bit more strategy, the Crossroads expansion will add slightly more of the kind of strategy feel to it. But I'll talk about that in a separate video. I'll probably make that in a second, but it'll be uploaded shortly after this one. But feel free to watch that as well. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to ask any questions about this game or about the Crossroads expansion, or any other things you've got to ask, or any feedback about the video, please let me know and I'll answer as quickly as I can. But thank you very much for watching, and see you in another video. Goodbye.